Hello, this is the RPG Pundit, the final boss in Internet Shitlords. And this is a new phone that I'm doing the video on. I'm not sure if it's going to be any better or any worse, but I mean, it should theoretically be better, but we'll see. That might only make more of a difference in live streams or things like that. But, well, today, finally, I'm going to be reviewing Wretched Space 2nd Edition. So this is by the Red Room. I don't have any special publishing connection with the Red Room. Oh, hey, look, it's Meatball right away. You haven't shown up, Meatball, in any video in a really long time because you've always been outside. But the second I'm doing a review, you want to come and sit on the book, don't you? And there she is. That is it. Meatball has sat on the 2nd edition of Wretched Space. I guess that's everything for today, folks. No, hang on. That's not it. That's not it. We're not stopping, actually. So I'm saying that with the Red Room, I don't have any special financial connection to them. They didn't pay me to do this. It's not a promotion. It's a review. And the only thing that I have that is connected to them is the fact that my current short supplement series, the Pundit Files, is only sold from the Red Room's Webstore. But that's the same as, you know, the RPG Pundit Presents is only sold on DriveThruRPG. That's just how do you call it, a digital marketplace. It's not any kind of other thing. So, as you guys know probably by now, the Red Room produces a large number of RPGs in what they call their spaghetti punk wretched verse, of usually people behaving badly. And they did a whole bunch of games, like starting 2 years ago, I guess it would be now. And then last year, they did the 2nd edition of most of those games, right? So they've been like super fast, you know. Like for comparison, I think I published Lion and Dragon in 2016. And the closest thing to a 2nd edition that Lion and Dragon is likely to ever have is Baptism of Fire. And because it's going to be kind of an extended version of Lion and Dragon. But, you know, that's 8 years later. So the Red Room works fast. I guess you have to if you're Portuguese. So Wretched Space, which is the 2nd edition, which is currently under Meatball here, you will see that it's like about, I don't know if it's twice the size or not, but it is considerably larger. The 2nd edition is considerably larger than the first. Basically the width of my entire finger is the difference in margin of the size, right? It's a very, very impressive difference in page count. And on account of this, I decided to consult with the Red Room so that they could tell me what are the things that are different from one product to the other. So, Meatball, can I ask you to go sit on Heroes and Villains of the Silk Road, perhaps? No, but we need, okay, you're gonna come up here. All right, that's okay then. That'll work. That's good. All right, so putting aside Wretched Space 1st edition, and 2nd, I mean, again, you can see, actually, now that Meatball's gone, this is 234 pages. Okay, that's 1st edition. Goodbye, 1st edition. Here is 2nd edition, and 2nd edition is 404 pages. Okay, so that's a very, very considerable difference. It's a very big shift. And of course, you know, the setting of Wretched Space is basically a sci-fi game, but one that is the sordid underbelly of the galaxy. You know, the callous only survive. This is like a setting for, you know, wretched characters doing wretched things in space. Okay, so I checked with the Red Room as to what are the major differences here. And rules-wise, there are a few new things according to them. There's a new optional alignment alternative, which is the path of the sinner and the virtuous. Here you got some bad game fiction at the start. Always a bad idea, but so a lot of people fall victim to it anyway. Usually as a wretched character, your grit, guile, and reflexes, not some shiny code of honor, is what's going to be what you live from, right? But now there are some alternatives. Here they have a brief filmography of inspirations. And here we get to rules changes, so I guess that's That's pretty convenient. So the path of the sinner and the virtuous. So it says here, characters start in the neutral zone with alignment represented by a score that ranges from 0 to plus minus 9. Okay, so you can be moving on a scale of virtue or vice, which is an interesting mechanic to use. Yeah, that's pretty clever. So you can indulge in certain things to become more noble or more scum-like, I guess you could say, right? And then alignment will have certain effects, which are in the form of boons. And here are some the examples of them. If where you get benefits based on your sins. That seems like a fairly clever way to do stuff, right? There's tables for creating new alien races. That is also new. And they're pretty interesting tables. I think it's not quite, let's say, as sophisticated as the weird race tables in the Gonzo Fantasy Companion, but it'll probably do fairly well for creating a random alien in a kind of weird setting, if you do it all random. Of course, you could also do only some of it random and some of it you choose, There are some new character archetypes, including the common citizen, the colonist, orbital station technician. So these are new things. The Knight of Sidonia, which are basically like the Jedi, I think. Vortex blades, which I assume are basically like lightsabers. They have special maneuvers and stuff. Yeah. That is some very telling artwork there. So then you have, pilot, man of action, performer. Very good art here. A lot of it, I believe, is AI art, but the Red Room are very good in the way that they use AI art, so it's pretty good quality and pretty appropriate for the context of the setting. Hackers, patrician rebels, smugglers, traders. It's quite a good collection. Quite a good collection here of character classes. So there's, for example, a lot more variety than in my Star Adventurer game. Though in mine I have classes and then kind of subclasses, but I guess that's the same here, because you've got the scholar is the occupation, then astrobiologist, astrophysicist, drug designer, and space engineer. What they also have is a bit more rule stuff, right? Like they've got feats, perks. In mine they have skills, and that's basically it. But here they have feats, perks, and skills. So it depends on what you like, right? Origin and life path checks, which are somewhat similar to the ones that I use in Star Adventure to a degree. So these are all good, interesting, tables that you can use to improve the quality of the character creation process. Pistol dueling. There are new psionic rules in the game. World building tools have been revised as well. And from what they told me, the first edition was centered with the Galactic Federation and their conflict with the Rebellion. This one adds extra factions and expands some of the existing ones. So you have a more detailed setting in the book, which is, I think, what takes up quite a lot of the extra pages, which can be quite good if the setting is something you want to make use of, right? Lots of different types of weapons. It's certainly an opportunity for them to have been more thorough with stuff than they were in the first edition. Armor of various different types also. Spaceships, that's a very good photo, or a very good AI artwork, rather. Generic types of ships. Customizing ships. Specialty weapons for ships. specific spaceships of the setting. Big Star Destroyer there. And then you go to adversaries. I'm not sure if they have... I wonder if they've got... I haven't looked at this all as much as I should have, probably. But we'll see if they've got space combat rules, a la Star Adventurer or not. Because that was one thing I made sure to put into Star Adventure, which is a much more... I mean, remember, this is 400 pages. Star Adventure is like 30, 32, 36, I forget. But it's very, very small in comparison. Variety of different monsters and enemies and things here, including like zombies, you know. So there's you know, in every one of their games there's an element of like at least borderline the supernatural, you know. In the original version of Wretched Space, your characters were expected to be part of the Wretched Legion, which was like the foreign legion in space, you know. And now here there's apparently, again, a lot more options as to what your characters could be doing in space. Lots and lots of foes and opponents here, so as you can see, that's a pretty good selection of creatures, especially for a sci-fi game, right, where a lot of times you don't really get any of that sort of thing. And then here there is psionics and psionic abilities, which are in the form of psionic talents. And then they have like special folding abilities, they say. So it's a very particular type of psionics. And there's attunement. These are the Knights of Cydonia, which are pretty much like the Jedis. And you can see here the powers of the disciplines of the Cydonians are very similar in some ways to like Jedi abilities. Which again is something similar to how I use psionics in Star Adventurer. But they have more options here. And then there's also a section on magic, because usually they have one, even if it's just meant to be like optional, you know, including shamanic magic. So some of this stuff will be slightly redone from other games of theirs, I mean, right? That like they post magic and shamanic magic in various games. They have then a timeline of the settings. So we're now on page 163, and we hit the setting. Okay, so we can presume that a lot of what comes after this is setting material. And so you have the No universe, which I think was meant to be the known universe, perhaps. And details about it. And again, it's all, you know, like casinos and dives and things like that. And then, but there are like, you know, the psychic aliens, the Adidians, and then a variety of other ones. You have here the Space Foreign Legion. Stuff about basically the Federation. And then the Adidian Star Empire. And then a variety of other factors and groups. Children of the Night, the Consortium, the Daughters of Senya, Deva, followers of Tedric, Hasbrook religion. So a wide variety of groups that can be like allies, enemies, or just weird stuff. Basically just a collection of stuff that is essentially adventure cues, you could say, for these different, you know, the nature of these groups have by default the potential for specific types of adventures depending on which ones you're using. And here are individual villains and what have you. So quite a lot of stuff there. And then we get to the examples of worlds, which are planets that will have specific details. A variety of planets there. So you get a lot more setting material, in essence, here, with a few important changes to the rules. The world building here, so you can generate your own random world. That's something I kept out of Star Adventure because I feel like that isn't all that, because that mine is space opera, right? This is worlds that I guess can be a little closer to mainstream sci-fi, whereas in space opera, worlds should be kind of like cinematic, you could say, right? Like, Star Wars, right? But like the Star Wars movies, not the Star Wars expanded universe, where suddenly the worlds have to make more sense. But it looks like it's quite a good collection of, and, even some names and stuff like that. And then you got some more plot hooks here. Stuff aboard a ship, cargo, bounty hunters, characters getting arrested, carousing in space. That's a table they probably borrowed from Machinations of the Space Princess, or was inspired by Machinations of the Space Princess. Different scenarios here with some adventures, basically. So you've got quite a good collection of material. Certainly 404 pages, we said. That's a large size RPG. I think to date I've never made an RPG bigger than that one except for Invisible College. So it's quite the collection. And so I think that if you're, I would say first and foremost, if you're a fan of the Red Room, or think you'd like the style of the Red Room sort of games, and you're looking for a sci-fi RPG, well then Wretched Space 2nd Edition could be potentially a very good choice. If you already bought the original version of Wretched Space, then the main thing I think you'd want to ask yourself is whether you are going to be able to find use of the setting material in the 2nd edition book, because the other stuff is relatively small changes, whereas the addition of the setting material is going to be basically the key point in deciding if you actually need to get the 2nd edition versus the first. Though I'm guessing some of those rule changes can probably be relatively significant in changing the style of the game, right? Like in the original Wretched Space, your characters are scum, period, right? In the new Wretched Space, the idea is that you have a floating table between being scum and being potentially heroes, right? So you can go along the way there. And that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it does change the background genre, right? Like, I mean, obviously you could take the original Wretched Space and run it without that kind of idea of your characters are all basically scum of some kind, and just turn it around into a more regular kind of game. But here you actually have the option to do this right from the start. It's supported in the rules, right? So those are kind of the decisions about what to do, right? And if you're looking for something that is not really mostly about the setting, system-wise, Wretched Space is, it's OSR, so it's gonna be an effective system. I think that probably the psionics and the powers of the Sidonian Knights, and certainly the supernatural stuff and shamanic rituals and what have you, are going to be particular to the kind of Wretchedverse setting. So you're going to have to consider if that's something you want to, if that's the way you want to handle it. I mean, there are other options for sci-fi games. Stars Without Number, Machinations of the Space Princess, and of course Star Adventure. But if what you want is a setting, a system that has a kind of a default sort of setting, and that style is of this kind of grubby space sort of adventuring, like you're not talking about Star Trek here, right? You're talking about something closer to like Battle Beyond the Stars or something like that, where you have a lot of space is basically sort of third worldish, and if you do that, if that's what you're into, then this is going to be a very good choice. And regardless, it does look like another quite good addition in terms of the setting, anyways, because we already had the rules were in the first edition. But it does look like a potentially good addition to the, let's say, OSR stable of material that you can use. Because again, the OSR is so compatible that you could take Star Adventure and Machinations of the Space Princess and Stars Without Number and Wretched Space and take stuff from all of those, and maybe even, like, I don't know, Alpha Blue or something like that. Though Alpha Blue, the original, isn't really OSR, but let's say like the Chalt stuff or whatever, and put that all together, right? And use stuff from each one of those. So if you're looking to find more material to add to kind of your OSR sci-fi omnibus, then Wretched Space can be a very good choice also. So Wretched Space you can buy, well, I know you can buy it for sure from the Red Room. I think they might have it on Lulu as well, but I don't remember if that's, I'm not 100% sure about that. Don't take my word for it. But I will put the link to Wretched Space 2nd Edition in the description of my video, as well as where you'll find links to all of my own products, including, Star Adventure, and including the Pundit Files, which you will also be able to find at the Red Room store, and some of my other products like, the Old School Companion, which is an incredible tome to get for supplementary rules, classes, items, magic, and all kinds of things that are medieval focused for any OSR game. And Heroes and Villains of the Silk Road, which is a big compendium of NPCs from history in the Sword and Caravan setting that have fascinating biographies, stats, timelines, and a few other little things in there, including the Assassin class for Lion and Dragon. So do check out those books and my other books. Currently, the Pundit Files, the current Pundit Files is still issue number 5, which is the City Guide to Baghdad, speaking of the Silk Road. And it's a complete guide to the city of Baghdad in 1192 with its different districts and adventure seeds for each one of them and a nice map. And you can get it at the Red Room store for $3.50. Okay, so be sure to check all of those out. And if you can, share this video, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And if you have subscribed, make sure you hit the notification bell, because there is going to be live streams in the future and you want to get notified about them so you don't miss them when it's happening, right? Especially now that I got the new phone and the new camera. So there we go. And I guess that's everything for today. I was currently smoking a near a poker, but I think I left it upstairs, so I can't show it to you guys today. But I guess that's it for today, guys. See you soon.